Thank you for joining us. This is Platform. I'm Ruth Aguele. As the saying goes, be the change that you wish to see in the world. Goes beyond words, but action. Yes, there are responsibilities that every citizen must take up to bring about change in the society. This could be by way of ensuring that the government actually works for the public good of all, which requires informed, organized, active citizens' participation. Suffice to say, citizens should therefore understand ideas about policy choices and the proper use of authority, along with the skills to voice their concerns, act collectively, and hold public officers accountable where necessary. No doubt, citizens are central to governance, and the progress of a nation greatly depends on its people and active citizenship, which implies working towards the betterment of one's community through active participation. Citizen engagement is about collaboration, not opposition. Especially when citizens are included in public policy processes, there is certainty for growth. When the governed and the government work together as partners to solve major developmental challenges, this will in turn neutralize the influence of powerful interest. Active citizens' participation pays off by building trust in institutions, as citizens' trust in institutions is a huge asset for nations anywhere in the world. But you ask, how then can Nigeria promote active citizen participation? On the other hand, how can citizens effectively play their role for nation building? As a citizen, are you being patriotic even in the face of challenges? On Platform today, we will be discussing citizens' role in nation building, and our guest is Mr. Ibrahim Adebayo Salman. He's a public affairs analyst. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Salman.
Thank you, Auntie Ruth.
Auntie Ruth. Okay, good to have you. Let's take you through his profile. Ibrahim Adebayo Salman has worked in various capacities, both in private and government sectors, in accounting, middle, higher management, and leadership levels. He holds a master's degree in business administration. He's a fellow, Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, fellow, National Accountants of Nigeria Associate, Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, Associate, Nigerian Institute of Management. He has contributed immensely in different fields of endeavors, making remarkable strides. So we'll leave the profile there, but I must say, Mr. Salman, you've achieved so well for yourself. Well done.
Alhamdulillah, thank you.
Okay, we have a panelist as usual on Platform, and this time around, one of our regular faces, Laraba Murray, reporter with the Inquirer newspaper. Laraba, always nice to have you join us on Platform.
Thank you. Always a pleasure to be here.
All right. So, Mr. Salman, we're looking at citizens' role in nation building. It says a lot, even from the context. You and me, we have a very significant role to play when we're talking nation building. It's not just about the government, but also about the governed. But from your perspective, if you want to paint a picture for Nigeria, how critical would you say, especially in this time of our nation, citizens can play their active role in nation building?
Yes, thank you. Who is a citizen?
I like that. Go ahead.
Citizens are the people, the populace, the people that populate a state. And those in government derive their authority from the citizen. And that is why it is important for the citizen to guide their mandate. And how do you guide your mandate? You have to look at those that you have elected, assess them, process them, guide them. You criticize them not to condemn, but criticize to guide. Tell them what they are doing right so that they can build on it. Let them know what they are not doing right so that they can change from it. And it is very, very key for citizens to be concerned about the leaders, the governors, because we give them our mandate, and if you give mandate to a wrong candidate, then you will get a wrong result. So it starts from there. The responsibility of the citizen starts from even electing the leaders from every level, the local government, the states, and federal.
Yeah.
And those that we elect, we must process them. We just don't elect anybody because she or he has a fine face. You should look at their antecedents.
Yeah.
Where have they worked before? What have they done? Somebody just coming from UK, from anywhere, because he has money, and he came to your environment, campaigned for you, you gave him your mandate. He doesn't even understand the environment, so he doesn't know your needs. So definitely, you don't expect such a candidate when he gets there to perform, because he doesn't even know the environment. He doesn't know your needs. And the moment you elect him, you give him your mandate, you will be alienated because he's not free. He's not familiar with the environment. He only came in during the electioneering. And when you give him your mandate, you elect him, he lives until another 4 years if he wants to return. So the responsibility of citizens starts from selecting the leaders. Now, after that, we need to regularly assess their performance, guide them on what they need to do for the welfare of the citizen.
You know, it just brings us down to deepening democracy in a country like
Yes.
Nigeria, which entails total commitment. Now, it is difficult for people to get the desired leadership they want if they don't partake in the electoral process. I'm sure
Yes.
that's what you're driving at.
Yes, yes.
But if we want to narrow it down to each citizen,
Yes.
you and me now, wherever you find yourself, the little office or the large office you've been placed, what are you contributing to nation building?
You see, what I have said is just as an introduction. Now, as a first step, electing the leaders. Now, the next step is for citizens themselves to be patriotic and be committed. Because our leaders are not the owners of Nigeria. It is me and you that collectively own Nigeria. Yes, the leaders are also co-owners because they have a mandate. They have only one vote as you have.
But they are there to serve.
They are to serve because we have collectively, a constituency has collectively gathered their mandate and give to one person. That person that was elected has a responsibility to come and account for the mandate they give to him. But you realize that most times the legislators or those that are elected only come occasionally and they say they want to give empowerment, they want to give constituency support. They will come like a stranger. And that should not be. It should be part of them. It should be part of them. But again, the citizen has a responsibility, being the owner of the state. You know, our responsibility starts from even keeping our environment clean.
It starts with the little drops.
Even the shell of a peanut. Just don't throw it anywhere. You can't tear a paper and just throw anywhere. You can't finish your table water and throw the container just anywhere. It's part of our responsibility. If you see anything wrong, you should, if it's not what you can check immediately, you should report to the authority. If within your locality or as you are passing by, you see a public pipe, water pipe, leaking, you don't just look away. Because one, that leakage will deprive other people access to water. That leakage will cause damage on the road because the road will be flooded. If it is a tarred road, it may affect the asphalt.
Yeah.
If it is earthen road, definitely it will affect access on that road because you just look away.
Okay, I'd like to come in because when you started with talking about first of all the choice that the citizens make in who their leaders are. But I like to bring it down to the aspects of education. because you just talked about not looking away when you see anything. What do you think that the citizens can contribute in educating themselves or their communities in order not to look away from these items that you have listed?
Yes, you see, it's very good in Nigeria. We have had different institutions, agencies. Like presently, I think it's National Orientation Agency. We have had MAMSA in the past. We have had different type of names to mobilize the citizen, to educate the citizens on their responsibility for the state. Every one of us has a responsibility to contribute. If, for instance, NTA transmission mast is faulty in where it is located, if NTA authority did not know, you'll be busy with all this effort and your transmission will not reach the viewers. So it's like your effort is not really yielding results. So every citizen has a responsibility as a citizen of the state to see that he has an obligation to protect the state. You look at it. When we are looking at presently,
okay, when you say that every citizen has a responsibility,
yes,
you know, we're talking now down to citizens, down
yes,
to me,
yes,
down to what I'm supposed to do, down to what my village people are supposed
yes,
to do.
yes.
What examples do you think that we can use in order to know, okay, NTA mast in my village, Adamawa State, is faulty? What examples, how do you think I, as a citizen, can come in to help?
Yes, that is why it is necessary for every project, for every government project, the receiving locality must be involved. If you are putting a mast in a village, no matter how remote, the citizens are there, they have a ruler, no matter how little.
Now we're talking the role of traditional ruler.
Yes.
Okay.
And if you have a project, you should bring in the community hosting that project.
Okay. To also partake.
It's not necessary to have a sense of belonging.
Yeah.
Let them see that this NTA mast, even if they don't have power within the community, they don't have television within that community, but let them know that this mast that is here belongs to you. And if anything affects it, you should protect it. And that is where you now bring their community leader, whatever title the chief has. And that is where the cry of the traditional rulers to have constitutional responsibility comes in. All the security challenges that we are having in Nigeria, the citizens are the ones affected, and they are the ones that can bring solution, either in terms of kidnapping, insurgency, whatever form, either in food security. I was listening to Good Morning Nigeria today on NTA, and that food security was extensively discussed. One key, no matter it might look little, let the citizens, people in the rural areas, let them have a sense of responsibility. Let them know that they are part of the government.
You know,
because we discovered that it's just a small percentage of the citizen, of the populace, that have benefit, that have access to the government. A large percentage in the rural areas, they don't have any benefit. They don't even have access. So they don't see themselves as having any responsibility. When you are talking that this thing belongs to Nigeria, they will say the owners are in Abuja.
You know, when
or
they
in
say,
the state capital.
Mr. Salman, when they say participation of people in the institutions and systems are basic human rights,
yes,
a lot of people may misunderstand the context, because if you want to see good governance, that's where you also have to play a role.
Yes.
Yes, you expect that the mandate of the leaders you have put there should be extended,
yes,
you know, beyond any constraint.
Yes.
People just want to see systems work. I like the fact that you talked about protecting the government assets and all of that.
Yes.
Because a lot of times, people forget that that infrastructure you're watching deteriorate.
Yes.
That infrastructure you're letting vandalize could also affect you.
Definitely.
So what kind of
Indirectly or indirectly.
reorientation, Mr. Salman,
Yes.
should we begin to, promote out there? People should not just turn their face away. You talked about that earlier.
Yes. You see, more than ever before, the National Orientation Agency should be better equipped and should not let their function be limited to the office. They used to have local government offices, district offices, and one key element that can also help citizenship participation is the effective operation of local government system. Most of the local governments in many states are not functional. Even the staff that claim to be staff of local government, they just go to collect salary. It's a very small percentage, people maybe in the admin or at the top, that are working. Because everything is dead. Those days, local governments, they organize mobilization. They give social education. They give citizenship responsibility and rights, education to the people, even to the peasant farmers. They gather them together in groups, cooperative societies, women society, age group within some communities. They organize enlightenment. Let them have information direct to them. Let them know that what is happening in Abuja is determined by your needs, by your request, by your agitation. You don't have to be destructive to agitate for your rights.
Okay, you talked about in those days
Yes.
that the local government used to take on some responsibilities. At what point do you think that there was a missing point between the citizens and the local government?
I think the makeup of the local government administrators at the advent of partisan politics government, when we started the so-called political democracy, the parties in the state want to dominate whoever is sitting in the local government. They want to remote control them. They want to determine who is there. And who gets there might not be even those that the community wants. Those that get there might not be those that can even discharge.
Okay, so how do we fix this now? Since we're
Yes.
looking at citizens' participation, we have identified the problem. So how do we fix it?
You see, like I said, we need to improve on citizenship education, enlightenment. Tell them what they need to do to get what they want. In many rural communities, there are no passable roads. Not all roads should be tarred. You can have earthen roads that are functional. And this one will help the general security, in terms of social security, in terms of food security. Because there are farmers in the rural areas who cannot take their produce to the market. So most of their harvest get wasted in the farm because there's a limit to what they can eat. Now, if you let them know, this road that was constructed for you, this is where we will bring fertilizer supply. This is where we will bring seedling supply. This is where the officials of the Ministry of Agric or any agency on agricultural development would pass through this road. It will be easy. If the road is good, the official will be excited and will be interested to go every day.
Ownership.
You understand? And the farmers would also have a better access to contemporary agric practice. But if they did not see officials of government when they are preparing their land, and maybe at the middle, the officials now want to collect statistics, they will not listen to them. because they don't have any benefit from the government. And these statistics are very, very important for planning. Most of the times, some of the variables that are used for planning are just arbitrarily brought together. They didn't get their information from the grassroots, from the farm.
Okay, since we're talking grassroots,
Yes.
what practices can the citizens do in order to ensure that they do this relationship, in order to take ownership
Of the states?
Yes, we talked about what's the role of National Orientation Agency,
Yes.
but now we're bringing it back to us. What practices can we do in order to ensure consistently that we don't look away, we take ownership of these roads, we take ownership of these social amenities that is coming to our communities? What practices can we do as citizens to ensure that these infrastructures are protected?
Yes. The protection of all government infrastructure is primarily that of the citizen. Because there's the one that are staying there day and night. You can see there are solar light poles.
The security agencies also have a role to play.
Security agency will not, they won't sleep there. If the citizens compromise, the security agencies, they are not wizards.
That's where information sharing is very
Yes.
important.
If I know where I can go and report, if, like I said, that all projects, all infrastructure should be done in such a way that the receiving community, the host community, has a sense of belonging. Even from the beginning, from the inception, when they are turning the sword, you are start laying the foundation. You should call the citizens. You should ask the community head to nominate one or two individuals who will be representative on the implementation. And when this project completes, it will look like it is handed over to you in trust. Nothing must happen to this table. If anything happens to it, we will hold you responsible. And apart from just saying that, those that are employed or that are nominated to be involved in the project should be remunerated.
You know, Mr. Salman, as
Yes.
you were just talking, and I just remembered, Chapter 4 of the 1999 Constitution, as amended, clearly states, which is on fundamental human rights, clearly
Yes.
states what constitutes good governance. When we're talking protection of the rights of life,
Yes.
human dignity, right to fair hearing, and the rest of it,
Yes.
in as much as the citizens expect that, okay, we all expect the citizens to play their role.
Yes.
The citizens also expect
They have
these basic
responsibility.
rights
Yes.
to be there for them
Yes.
in terms of the provision of those basic amenities.
Yes.
Now, where do we draw the line in creating a balance? You do your part and I do my part.
Yes. You see, like we were talking on infrastructural protection, some railings on roads are stolen.
Even manholes, that's the trend now in the Federal Capital Territory.
You can even discover, you can hear about some key national critical assets are being vandalized, are being stolen. You see, as a first step, apart from creating sense of belonging and bringing the citizens, individuals within the locality of this project, we should look at our law. Because vandalizing national critical assets like rail line, like NITEL, those days, NITEL installations, like NTA installations, like...
You keep using NTA.
Yes, because
Okay.
you can't beat the reach of NTA.
Of course.
And how do you reach the viewers? You need to put some booster stations at different locations. Some of the location of your booster stations are remote places. Because you need to study and identify where you put the transmitter or the receiver that will help to send signals to the people. You are serving the people.
Yeah.
But if some of these installations, just like other agencies, if they are not properly protected, one, you will waste the money that was spent on providing those infrastructure, which should have been used for something else. Now, people who are enjoying it as for access to information, to entertainment, will be deprived. Yeah. Some localities have only access to NTA. They don't have the benefit of satellite stations. And they depend on NTA to know what is happening in their state, in their country. So, like I said, if we let these people have sense of belonging, that this thing belongs to me, all of us owns the government. It's not the member of the House of Assembly that owns it. It's not the councillor in your locality that owns what belongs to the government. What belongs to government? Who is the government? It's all of us. Well,
leadership is sacrosanct.
Yes, Mr. but Salman, you see, we should not alienate our leaders. You know, there are different levels of leaders in a society. This is where we now bring in even religious leaders. Because in Nigeria, there's no community in Nigeria that don't have faith in God in whatever form. Even those that worship deities, they still have the belief that, and there's no religion in whatever form that doesn't teach good citizenship.
Sure.
Because you should love your neighbor
as yourself.
Yeah. That means you should protect your neighbors. You should not watch your neighbor being kidnapped. You should not watch your neighbor being murdered. You should not, if armed robbers are attacking an apartment beside you, you should not lock up and say they didn't come to my side. You have to do something to raise alarm.
You know, it just brought back memories of how we used to live as one people those days, where we eat together irrespective of religion.
You know, in some communities, this maybe one teacher that will be the disciplinarian for the whole students within that locality. Each compound, if your son is misbehaving, your daughter is misbehaving, you say, go and call Teacher Charles. And the moment the child sees Mr. Charles coming, he will behave himself.
Okay, now that we're talking about Mr. Charles, that means, you know, those days they used to tell us that you're a child, that no child is being brought up by one parent.
No.
You're a child of every person.
That is African family system.
In the community.
Yes.
So now I want to bring back this conversation of citizens to youth, to the youth now, specifics, because it is from there that we put this information to how can communities, how can the community help this youth to take this project to personalize it to themselves in order to ensure that they are actively participating in these communities. Because when we say that when we see any vandalization, it is usually ascribed to the youth of that community. So how can the youth now come to help them?
That is very important. That is very good. It's one of the key requirements of our country. We need to change our orientation on child upbringing. And a child that doesn't have quality upbringing will definitely not be a good citizen of a state. We are Africans. An African system believes in family.
Okay. Mr. Salman, just hold our thoughts. Let's take this quick break. We'll be back. We'll pick up from where you stopped. Please stay tuned.
What are we doing as a nation to, first of all, settle our teeming populace, especially the
NTA's political package with a third eye on the nation's political scene? I am Fisa Ogunfuyi. Welcome.
You have to be very careful giving space to people who are obviously sponsored to further the agenda of some other groups.
There's a lot of questions. A lot of questions in a closed door sessions. Some of these issues, some of the problems bedeviling of their
In fact, between June 1st and July 17, 19-point-something billion has left the coffers of the NDDC.
I can say my constituency, they need everything because we don't have anything. Weekend File, your Saturday delight, going to places from the obscure to the hinterland and cities, bringing you development stories and perspectives, connecting the people with government and stakeholders on critical issues of our national life.
We are live in Abuja.
It's 9 p.m. every Saturday on the network service of the NTA. Weekend File. You can't afford to miss it.
Thank you for being there. The conversation is still citizens' role in nation building. Mr. Salman, you were just sharing your thoughts on citizenship. Laraba brought back those memories and the role of youth.
Yes.
So go ahead.
Yes, like I said, that is where we need to go back. That is the foundation of our problem. And until and unless we address it, those days, from African context, a person bears the child, but it is a society that collectively bring up the child. That means the child is assured of quality education even from birth. Yeah. From the way he behaves, even in the house. You teach your child to greet. You teach your child, even if seniority by one day,
family values.
Family values. You watch what your child eats. You should guide how much you give to a child. You should guide even how much you expose your child. You should observe how your children dresses. These days, you watch children with lock head, with different style of hairdo, with dresses exposing your humanity, and nobody talks. They say it's freedom. That is not. It's not African freedom. It starts from there. We have many children now that don't have any disciplinarian. There's nobody they fear. And that's why they go to crime. If you are going to school, you know that if you bring a straight pencil home, you won't go back to school freely. You will have received some beating. You will receive some beating at home before your father or your mother follows you to your school and reports to your teacher. Ibrahim has brought this pencil. I never bought it for him. And the teacher would make sure, not that they will condemn him, they will correct him. And from there, they start observing. You don't bring a strange notebook. What does not belong to you? You can't take it without the owner's permission. But these days, when you do it, they'll see, this is smart. I never bought pencil for him, try this time. And he's writing his notes. You don't know that you are already abetting him to be a criminal.
You know, it's quite unfortunate that family values are, eroded in society. And if we want to still return back to the youths, they say youths are the cornerstone to societal rejuvenation. And if you want to engage these youths, they say something broken cannot be fixed, but there is a way you can manage it. So it still boils down to engaging them actively through innovative means. A lot of you, I give it to Nigerians, we are the best when it comes to talent. How can, government, on the other hand, begin to harness this talent, for better use?
It's a part of where we got it wrong, is that we want to imitate other culture, which is strange to our own culture. Yes, youths, children, they have different talents. They can go to sports, they go to entertainment, they go to various sectors of entertainment, drama, go to music, but that does not mean you should be mad. That does not mean you should not be guided. Those days we have footballers, the Okalas, the Segun Odegbamis. Now you see our children, because they play football, they do strange hairdo that is like a mad person. That does not help you perform. Oh, you are here, the panelist here. See how you are well dressed, like a typical African woman. You don't have to expose your cleavage, to expose your body before you present yourself as a decent human being. This is part of what we should teach our children. We should, like I said, we should bring back our moral values. And that is, again, where we need to regulate our religious practices. So it is very important that we give our children religious education. Go to church, go to Sunday school as a Muslim, go to madrasa, learn.
Okay, it seems
the teaching of your religion.
It seems that what we're talking about is let's go back to the old ways, which is what has been helping citizen participation. But what do you think are the challenges that citizens are facing right now that is stopping us from engaging in proper citizen participation? What challenges,
just
what
to
barriers?
add to what Laraba just said, going back to what I asked earlier, how can young people be actively engaged through innovative means? It all boils down to that.
That is, we don't have to go to the past.
We're talking about
But we can
the present
study what happens in the past to guide our present and our future.
Yeah.
We don't have to throw away the good values of the past. There are a lot of contemporary developments now that make some of the teachings of the past to be difficult to be impacted as it was then. In the past, there was no mobile phone. In the past, there are so many things that are now available. But we should go back to how our parents train us, brings us up. And we now bridge with contemporary development. What is available now? You don't have to allow a child, maybe in primary school, to have a smartphone, an Android phone, where he or she would have free access to anything on the net. You discover that most of our children of today, they are digital inclined. They even know how to operate some of these smart facilities more than some of us, their parents.
True.
But they are even within those gadgets, the manufacturers, they have impacted some control devices, but some of us look away. And that is what is creating problem for us. Yes, we should encourage our children to participate in contemporary activities, but they should be properly guided. A child should not have total freedom.
Is that part of the challenge?
Yes.
The liberty?
A child should not have total freedom until he or she gets to a certain age when she can differentiate the right from the wrong. That is where, and most times, it will get to you if you have a standard beginning. By the time you are a graduate of the first degree, which is age 18 to 20, you must have been able to know what is right, what is wrong. You should have a focus of what you want to be in life. But you see, the economic challenges again is also allowing some parents to shy away from their responsibility. Because you look at somebody, probably is a trader or a hustler, he will leave home 5 a.m. He won't come back because he's in the urban center, traffic, everything. He won't come back until 9 p.m. The child has slept. He doesn't know what happened to that child during the day. By the next morning, he has gone. He will even leave money. He will only leave money for him. The mother is gone. The father is gone. Some of them, they leave the children for the nannies. The nannies who are not morally upright. Because they came up, they also grew from a failed family system. So you are now employing such a person to come and manage and guide your child. Definitely, she or he will just direct that child towards her own failed path.
What about schools?
You see, like we have been saying, or like I have said, that those days Teachers are the disciplinarian of the society.
No, I'm talking about teaching pupils, students on patriotism, civic rights,
you see,
and all of that.
In most schools, they teach them.
They teach them.
But what happened is that
But just at the elementary
a large
level,
number of the children of the citizens, they're in the public school. And because of inadequate attention, and you see some schools still attending classes under the tree at this age. So how do you want to teach those children to be compatriots? How will you call them to arise that your nation is calling you should obey when you pass through such a school? So there are some basic things that government needs to do. Give the citizens some basic infrastructure. Now, allow the citizens to also see those things that are provided for them as their own, so that they can protect it, they can defend it, they can operate it.
Now, whenever there is any infrastructure that is being vandalized, or there's a decision that the government has taken, most of the complaints that the citizens give is that they don't have access to the government. There's no feedback to the government. So what steps can the government take to ensure that the issues that the citizens are bringing are incorporated into decision-making process?
You know, like I said, our elected leaders should not alienate themselves from the electorate. In practice, I know that there are provisions for constituency offices, but most of these constituency offices are not functional. There is a need for probably an arm of government that has that responsibility to monitor the operation of constituency office of each of our elected leaders. The constituency office is not just to be established by name, but that should be the contact point of the electorate. If within my district, within my ward, I know the constituency office of my member of House of Assembly, if I have issues, I don't need to go to the state headquarters to go and find him. I can go to the constituency office in the ward, give my report. That report will get to him. He will appraise it, and if you know where to go to address my complaint. Like I said, we should monitor what our leaders are doing, not to condemn them. We don't need to criticize to condemn. We should criticize to guide and see that whatever they do, we should, as a matter of fact, pray for our leaders. It's one responsibility of the citizens at every level. We need to pray for our leaders, because it is if they are divinely guided right that they will think right and do right for us.
What about reward? Sorry, Laraba. What about reward system? Oftentimes we get to see people who have done remarkably well in society. Voluntary service. We see volunteers come out in communities, not just communities, even in urban centers.
Yes.
We've even seen youth corps members,
Yes.
do their own part.
Yes.
Which is to say that actually there is a sense of patriotism amongst us.
Yes.
But what about reward system?
Among few. And that reward system is what, again, is affecting some people who want to prove to be patriotic. They are dissuaded.
They feel it's their right.
They just feel. And you see, the reward system, we should look at the value. We should rejig our value. Not everything should be rewarded in terms of naira and kobo.
Yes.
Those days, it's not just anybody that wins national honors. Those days, being invited by the governor to come from your village and visit the governor and sit face to face with the governor will give you some lift to want to do more. talk less of even having a direct handshake. If they bring a farmer from my village in Ogbondoroko or Boroko, which is more remote in Asa local government in Kwara State, bring him, give him the privilege because of your performance on your farm, because of your effort to arrest bandits, because of your effort to protect the road, because of your personal effort to protect solar systems provided within the community, you should come to Abuja, come and have an audience with the president without giving him anything. That would again rejig his effort to do more and would encourage others to do.
We saw the story of the Hajia who got back from Hajj, who returned money.
Yes.
You know, it was beautiful to just see that she did it out of goodwill.
Yes.
She didn't even expect anything.
And they don't need, you see, they don't need to give that woman a dime as reward.
Reward, yes.
What they need, those type of people are the ones that are entitled to national honors. You understand? There is a drama I watched on NTA where a nanny or house girl, the master tested her, dropped some money somewhere, and she was expecting her to bring the money back. The daughter of the landlady, when they were discussing, went to the house girl and said, if you see money, how would you react to it? She said, depending on the size, the value, the volume of money. If it is big money, I'm not going to tell nobody. You understand? Because she felt there must, one, the salary she's being paid might not be adequate. The masters might not be treating her well. So she feels she needs a shortcut to get money.
Laraba, your final question, we're winding down.
Now, we have talked about the citizens, and then now I want to ask about governance, the government and the issue of transparency. Now, we've talked about how the citizens need to take ownership. Now, and then the citizens are also complaining that the government is not transparent enough for us to even take ownership of these properties. How do you think the government can do to ensure that the trust is gained?
Very briefly, Mr. Salman, we're winding down.
Okay. Yes, like I said, no matter how you find yourself in position of authority, most of the people who we elect, they are not really concerned about their responsibility. They are more interested in the benefits that the office is bringing to them. If they know of the need of what they need to do, people will not be struggling to be there. And that is where, again, like I said, the constituency offices should be functional and should be monitored. What happens there? There must be some basic records that must be kept in each constituency office, which an agency of government, existing agency of government, will be going like auditing, checking, to make sure that you are not just the representative of the people by name, you are representative of the people by your acts. There are some constituencies that don't know the name of their member of House of Assembly. It's so bad. And that should not be. It should be one of them. If, for instance, Laraba chooses to go and contest election in her community, she should not just from Abuja travel there one day until after election. She will just come, bring some materials, buy some stuffs and distribute and say, I'm doing empowerment. No.
All right.
You should attend age group meeting. You should attend family meetings. You should be familiar with the environment.
She should be part of the process.
Yes.
Mr. Ibrahim Adebayo, I know you're very passionate about this whole issue, and this is something we'll keep talking about. We'll keep reminding ourselves. It's a way of reorientation because we all have our roles to play. Thank you so much on platform. Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
All right. Laraba Mure, she's a reporter with the Inquirer newspaper, Abuja Inquirer newspaper. Thank you, Laraba. Always a pleasure to have you on platform.
Thank you for always having me. It's a pleasure.
All right. We have been discussing citizens' role in nation building. I want to see a Nigeria of my dream where prosperity, peace, and stability thrive. But we cannot achieve that if you and I don't play our role. It is a collective responsibility. I'm Ruth Aguele. Bye.